Hello, everybody. Welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Michael, and as always, I'm joined by...
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right, and it's a very, very special week. Why don't you tell us what's going on, Mike Dell?
Well, first of all, we have a guest.
Whoa!
Yes. Hate to break this to you, but because it's such a very special episode, I decided to bring back in our old buddy, Bob Myers. Bob!
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. There he is, Bob. Now, you've been on the show, I believe, is this six? Maybe six times?
6, 7, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no
Hard
idea.
to count.
What was the last time you were on? Did we do Electra? Was that the last time?
I think that was the last one, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, when we were discussing that issue, I remember you had sent me a message, and I believe you requested to come back on when we did today's issue. Because for you kids out there, last week Michael picked Star Trek, one of his most favorite beloved TV shows.
Yep.
And so this week I picked Alf. That's right, Alf. Issue 22 from 1989.
Woo!
Michael, this issue's from December 1989. I just got under the wire.
Yeah, you're getting close to cheating there,
under the
man.
wire.
Yeah, this is really cutting it close.
Wow, okay.
But Bob, I believe the last time you did a lecture, then you sent me a message saying, "Hey, we should do Alf," right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, I was, basically I was looking for things that were kind of off the beaten path, and I saw that there was an Alf comic, and I thought, yes, this is a thing that we can talk about and enjoy.
Because I think anyone who knows me, they know a few things about me. I love monkeys, and I love Alf. Yeah, they're the two things you can count on. I love me some Alf. Michael, did you have Alf up in Canada?
Yes, we... Jews in, during Nazi Germany, we would huddle around our TVs and watch The Secret Signal.
This is going really horribly.
We did Lord to watch Alf, yes.
That is horrible, Michael. But, yes, Alf, of course, an NBC sitcom, ran from 1986. It started in 86, ran for 4 seasons, 99 total episodes. Although 3 were hour-long episodes, so in syndication, 102 episodes. So it'll get a little bonus for you in syndication. But Bob, when Alf came out, I was like 11 years old, and I loved it. Now, how old were you, Bob, when Alf came out? You were younger than me, right?
When it first aired, I think I was 4.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
so did you remember it, or did you see it in syndication?
I don't recall when I'm sure I watched it as a kid, but I probably also saw it in syndication. I don't really recall, but I remember liking it a lot as a kid. So it's hard to say when I first watched it, but I'm sure I watched it when it first aired, maybe not knowing what it was, but at least watched it because it was, an alien on TV.
That's exactly right. For those who don't know what we're talking about, everyone knows Alf, right? Alien life form, that's what it stands for, Alf. And his real name was Gordon Shumway, and he came from the planet Melmac. And his spaceship his planet blew up, and is not unlike your buddy Superman, Michael.
That's right.
Very similar.
Now, which one was first again? I can't remember.
Alf. So then Alf landed. His spaceship landed in the garage of the Tanners. Yeah, Willie Tanner, Kate Tanner. Then their kids, Lynn and Brian. And then I think they had a little baby in season 4, Eric, if I'm remembering properly. So you had the Tanners. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this there, Bob, but apparently making that show was hell on earth.
Oh, yeah?
They're
because of the puppetry or other reasons?
Well, because of the puppetry. Alf was created by a fellow named Paul Fusco, and he did the voice, and he also... Because Alf's a puppet, Mike. I hate to break it to you. He's not a real alien. He's a
Get
puppet.
out of town.
Yeah, it's like one of the Muppet deals, so... I guess the whole set was built up on a 4-foot-high platform, so that Paul Fusco could and then the living room you always see them in. There's actually trap doors all over the place, so Fusco could work the puppet from behind the couch or behind the kitchen counter or whatever. But because all these trap doors are everywhere, it made acting on the set kind of dangerous, and also every time they had to move the puppet, they had to redo all the lighting and all the sound and everything. And so it took forever to shoot an episode of Alf. I guess usually a half-hour TV show, it can take 4 to 5 hours to film on average. And I guess Alf was taking about 25 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, but worth every minute of it.
Obviously. And I guess, of course, Max Wright, who played Willie, poor Max Wright, he had I don't know, afterwards a lot of stories came out about Max Wright. Poor Max Wright. But anyway, during the show, he had a very contentious relationship with the puppet. I guess he had, even though they had wonderful chemistry on air, I guess, behind the scenes, I guess there's a famous story where one time he just got really mad and attacked the puppet. during But everyone had a lot of trouble filming that show. And I guess the final episode, when they filmed their final scene, they said, cut. Max Wright just turned around, walked off set, and left. Didn't say goodbye to anybody.
Wow. Jeez.
So it wasn't exactly a happy family behind the scenes.
Is that without getting too deep into it, is that then why he didn't come back for the movie that wrapped the show up?
Yeah, that's us Alf fanatics, us hardcore Alf guys like me. I was in the Alf fan club, by the way.
Come on.
So, yes, they sent you. I was an official Alf fan club member. They had Alf like trading cards from like Topps, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They had those, but they sent you a poster of Alf, which I had on my door, and then they sent you like a little Alf membership card. I wish I still had it. I do not. And they gave you some other stuff too. I think some trading cards or I don't know, whatever. But I was an official member. But anyway, we don't like to recognize that movie that came out because
no, for sure I don't recognize it. It's trash.
Yes. Why? I never saw it. What happened in it?
All right, on the final episode of Alf, the TV show, the U.S. government finds out about Alf and they're chasing him down, I guess. And but he's out in the woods, and you see like right when the government's closing in on him, you see a light from the sky, like it's his old buddies from Melmac who were still. So it looks like he's going to go up there, be saved. And that would have been fine. They could have ended it right there. But they said, no, we got to go tie up those loose ends. So like 5-6 years later, they made a movie, Project Alf. And I was so excited when this came out, Bob. Oh, my God. I was so excited.
This is 24, 25-year-old you?
Well, I was about 17 then, right? Or no?
Okay, all right.
Or no, wait, let's do the math on that.
96.
About 21. I was about 21.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was still very excited. And I sat down to watch it, and it lasted about 5-10 minutes. I'm, what the fuck is this? And I just turned it off. It wasn't Alf. I don't know what the fuck it was. We don't talk about it.
So wait a minute. It wasn't just him. It was apparently the entire family didn't show up, right?
Yeah,
like none of them were in it.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay,
Alf was there, but no one else. Wow, he was like in some government lab, and he was in a cage, and he had to bust out. And then in the end, I think he becomes like the ambassador for Melmac to Earth or something. I don't know. It's so weird because Melmac doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know. The whole thing's fucking weird. Just pretend it doesn't exist. That's the best way. That's the best course of action. It's terrible. But Alf was also a regular on Hollywood Squares. You remember that? That was great.
Okay.
I love that. That had to be fun. But he had his own talk show for a little bit too. He did 7 episodes of a talk show.
Wait, there was an Alf talk show? I don't think I knew about this.
Yeah, for just 7 episodes.
What? I just saw a clip and I didn't know what the hell it was. Wow.
Yeah, it was basically like the Tonight Show, but he was just, interviewing guests and stuff. But I can't remember what year that was. That was in the 90s at some point, late 90s. Also, during the heyday of Alf, there was also 2 animated series.
Oh, I watched those. Those are great.
Yes.
Yeah, the first one was just Alf, the animated series. That was in 1987, and it lasted 2 seasons, 26 episodes. And that just told stories from Alf's days on Melmac before he came to Earth. And then that was so successful, it spawned Alf Tales, which came out in 1988. That lasted 2 seasons, 21 episodes. And that was like Alf put in like medieval times, right? And like just like different historical, well, it was all different kind of historical periods, right? But Alf was in there. Is that the way it was?
I think it was like fairy tales, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
That's so cool.
Here's one time where I agree with you, Michael.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. I saved that one just for that.
That is so cool.
I just looked it up. The Alf talk show was aired on TV Land in 2004.
Wow, 2004. Oh, yeah.
By the way, can I comment? Have you seen pictures? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
His sidekick, Ed McMahon.
What the fuck? Okay, side note. Have you guys seen Max Wright, like, now?
Well, I think he's dead, right?
Oh, well, let's put it this way. Towards the end of his life, he looked exactly like Emperor Palpatine. Like, he looked horrible. Like,
Well,
after he was burned by lightning, you know? But anyway,
there are some problems. There are some problems with Max Wright. He had cancer, and then
I take that back.
he smoked a lot of the crack.
Okay.
Like to smoke
now
crack.
It's become real sad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to bring it up. But Michael has to dig through his his internet archives there and find out this stuff that we have to bring it up now. I feel horrible.
Yikes.
Yeah, I feel horrible. Of course, Max Wright was also on the Norm Macdonald show.
He was.
The Norm show, the old TV show. All right, but not only did they have the talk show and the anime show, also there's a comic book, and that's why we're here today to discuss the Alf comic book. And it came out in 1988, and it lasted for until 1992, 50 issues. 50 issues of the Alf comic book. Michael, would you like to tell the kids about the Star imprint of Marvel Comics? Because that's where Alf started, on the Star imprint.
Yeah, a little bit. Star was, as far as I know, Marvel had the license to a few comics, like, would have been, like Harvey Comics titles. I think that's what it was. Like Richie.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and then I think they lost the license, and so they had all these creators that wanted to do these kid-friendly books, so they created Star Comics, and they launched like Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, right. And like they made up an imitation of Richie Rich, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like an imitation. And anyway, and then they had like, Alf, and then eventually what happened was, as you know, Marvel had the license for G.I. Joe and Transformers, but then going forward, whenever they'd get the license for something else, it would become a Star comic. Like they did Stariors, Thundercats, Air Raiders, Visionaries, all that stuff.
Muppet Babies.
Yeah, Muppet Babies. And then they also had
Ewoks.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Oh my God, there's a lot. Bullwinkle and Rocky, Care Bears, Chuck Norris, Karate Commandos, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I think the big two for them was the aforementioned Peter Porker was the one that was Star comic form, and also Heathcliff was always an anchor.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And so Star, the imprint lasted from 1984 to 1988. Alf came in 87, and even though Star ended in 88, Alf kept on rolling because you couldn't stop Alf.
Nice.
And one of the great things about the Alf book, pretty much the same creative team for all 50 issues. The writer was a fella named Michael Gallagher, and I had no idea who he is, but he's the nephew of George Gately, who created Heathcliff.
Wow, amazing.
That's him. And Michael Gallagher had 134 writing credits at Marvel, wrote all 50 issues of Alf. He also did 33 issues of Guardians of the Galaxy in the early 90s. I didn't even realize there was a Guardian series in the early 90s.
Oh, yeah, that was started by Jim Valentino, and then he left to form Image. So this guy took over, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's also a regular contributor to Mad Magazine. The artist was a fellow named Dave Manak, and he drew all 50 issues of Alf. And he also wrote the Marvel Star Wars Droid series and the first 2 issues of Ewoks. How about that? And finally, the inker is our beloved Marie Severin. I think she inked like 48 issues of Alf.
Nice.
So basically, you have like the same group of people churning out these books. Because you know why, Michael? Because everybody loves Alf. And once you start working on Alf, you're not going to quit. You're not going to stop. So, Bob, had you read any Alf comic books before this?
I had not. As a child, I was a big fan of Alf. I watched the show. I'm pretty sure I had Alf dolls and Alf T-shirts and stuff, but I was not aware of the comics. So I had not read any Alf comics before this.
Yeah, for those unaware about Alf, he's a wise ass. He liked to crack wise. And that's why I loved him. Because he was the best. But he also, from his planet, they eat cats on his planet. So that was
Yeah, I love that running gag.
Mike Dell's a little conflicted there.
I know, because I love cats. But he's eating cats. But whatever. Also, each book of the Alf series, which we'll see here today, get an example of it. But they would a lot of times they have 2 or 3 stories in each issue. One would be like a current day story. Then one would be like a flashback to something that happened on Melmac. And oftentimes they would use these to parody movies, TV shows, and other comic books. And today, the issue we're doing, issue 22, they parody the X-Men. So we got 2 worlds colliding here in the comic book world. Now, Michael, since you know your comic books and you're a big collector of the comic books, do you know about Alph issue 48?
No, I do not.
It's actually worth hundreds of dollars.
What?
Because on the cover, they were doing a bit. I guess in the old days used to be a thing like, don't use this if the safety seal is missing. And so the cover is supposed to be a parody of that. So Alf is holding a seal.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And he's holding the seal like he's grabbing it. He won't let it leave. And he says, hurry up and buy this book before, the safety seal goes missing or whatever.
Well, he says, so hurry up. Oh, yeah, it says, caution, do not buy if safety seal is missing. And then he's saying, so hurry up already.
Yeah. And it, because he wants you to buy the book before the seal gets away. But the way it's drawn, it looks like Alf is having sex with the seal.
Yes.
So,
wow.
Because he's behind the seal, and the seal is between his legs, and the seal is sweating and yelling, and Alf is saying, hurry up already. So naturally, this cover caused some controversy, and I think Marvel maybe have pulled it off the stands or whatever, so it's quite the collector's thing. If you have Alf issue 48 of Alf having sex with a seal.
Jeez. I never heard that story before, but anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty good, though. All right, so I guess, Michael, obviously you never read Alf comic books. Right?
Oh, well, yeah, actually, I remember it had definitely, number one for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I just, I pretty much gave anything a chance, so I definitely had number one. I remember also having Mad Balls number one. You remember that, Mad Balls?
I do remember Mad Balls.
Yeah, I had that comic, too.
I was just going to say, Michael, you've really gone up on my esteem for you has really increased now that I know you've purchased issue 1 of Alf. But then, right away you say you had Mad Balls. And I'm like, all right. That's
You know what's even crazier? I still have my Mad Balls, and
I'm sure you do.
It's sitting on my shelf right now. The one with the green eyeballs. But anyway. Yeah.
Michael still has his Mad Balls.
Yep.
How are your balls, Bob? Are they mad? Do you have your balls?
They're mediocre. Well, mediocre is not the word. They're calm balls.
All right, calm.
I didn't realize they did a Mad Balls comic.
Oh, yeah.
Of course they did, though. Of course they did.
That had to be exciting. Can you imagine that? You're breaking into comic books and like, hey, I'm going to get a gig of Marvel. This is going to be great. What am I doing? Mad Balls. Oh, all right. That's pretty good. All right, well, I guess that's all the background. I've never read an Alf comic book until this.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of surprising, yeah, obviously. But, yeah, I'm very excited. So, all right, let's get to the book here, Michael.
All right, well, we got this awesome cover here. In this issue, meet Melmac's greatest superheroes, the Uncanned X-Melmen. And that's like the above the title thing. And then we have the classic Alf logo. And then we have the corner box, which is Alf dressed kind of like Uncle Sam. And it says, I want you to buy this issue. And then below that, it says, no excuse. Little pun there. And then we see Alf dressed up kind of like a superhero with a fork and spoon on his chest, making an X. And his cape is like a what's that called? A
picnic blanket.
Yeah, a picnic blanket. And you see the arm of Colossus coming out of like a doorway, pointing for him to get out. And it has an X above the doorway. And then you see the silhouette of Professor X kind of in the back.
Well, and that's Professor Xylophone.
Right.
A little stick. And notice that Colossus he's furry though. He's metal and furry.
Right. And Alpha is saying, well, fine, I'll form my own group, Alpha Flight.
That is pretty good.
And then there's a sign that says, Professor Charles Xylophone School for Gifted Mel Mutants.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I don't know if you've noticed, but you can already tell from this cover, but they have a running gag where they just put Mel in front of everything.
Right.
That doesn't get old at all throughout this issue.
Definitely not.
Good Lord. But Bob, what do you think of this cover here?
Oh, this is great. I mean, his Alpha Flight joke lets you know right away you're in for comedy gold in this issue.
I agree. I think this is a pretty awesome cover. And it was $1. Issue 22 is $1. It's a lot of entertainment for $1. So, can't get. All right. Hey, look, it says Star Comics Presents. So this is still Star Comics even.
Oh yeah, because I forgot. Yeah, so it does say Marvel in the top corner, but yeah, when you crack it open, it says Star.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Presents. Yeah, the splash page says Star. Because I thought Star ended in '88 and this is '89, but no, look at that. That's still,
not for Alf, right?
I guess.
Cool. Huh.
So Alf and X Marks the Spot is the name of this issue, and the splash page, Bob, we get to Alf pretending he's John McEnroe.
Yes.
Michael, do you know who John McEnroe is? I always have to check with Michael.
Yeah, I definitely know who he is. I'm not familiar. Like, I know he's a tennis player. That's it.
Yeah, he's a very famous.
Is he one that swore a lot?
Yeah, and arguing lines, calls, and stuff, and just
Right.
swearing all the time. Yeah.
Right.
That's what Alf's doing. He's going nuts. But hey, there's Willie coming through the kitchen door, and he sees Alf. And this could be. I guess I could do my. You know what? I'm going to save it till the end of the show. I'll do my Willie imitation. I'm kind of famous for Willie imitation, but we'll save it. But yeah, Alf is hitting tennis balls off the living room wall there, leaving marks over the wall. And Willie's very mad, Michael.
Yeah, and Alf has a speech bubble, but it's filled with like symbols and like knives and, you know, a storm cloud. So that's implying that he's swearing, right?
Yes.
Well, it's Klingonese, as the little asterisk will tell us.
Yeah, at the bottom it says Klingonese for, and then even that's censored. So we'll never know what he's actually saying, right?
Yep.
And then, so Willie is mad at Alf, and he's, oh, geez.
Are you just reading this for the first time, Michael?
No, I read this Sunday. I don't remember any of it, but I read it Sunday. So Alf is. So what is it? You tell me what's going on here. Willie's pissed off. Alf has been hitting balls.
Yeah, he left marks all over the living room wall and stuff.
Right.
He's like, hey, Alf, you got to clean this up. You know, you made a mess.
But then that causes Alf to have a flashback, right? To his the greatest superhero team of Melmac.
Because Alf says, hey, didn't you ever emulate like a sports athlete or a superhero? Hey, that reminds me of superheroes.
Right. Good setup. See, I like this.
It wasn't forced at all.
Right.
But Bob, you know what I found interesting, like reading this book, is the house they are in this comic book is nothing like the house from the TV show.
Nothing at all like the TV show house. I noticed that as well.
That confused me. Like, why do that?
It wouldn't be that hard to draw that house. Like, you could have even done this, do a little cutout next to the kitchen door here, and put a couple things below there, and like, okay, yeah, that's the kitchen. Like, it wouldn't have been the living room and the kitchen. It wouldn't have been that hard to do.
I think it would even be easier to do just because you always have the
reference.
Yes, it's always in your mind what it's supposed to look like. So I don't know why they did it this way. Unless NBC said, oh, no, you can't. That's our intellectual property. We'll let you draw Alf. But we won't let you draw.
And you can sort of draw Willie a little bit.
Yeah, Willie kind of looks like Willie. I don't know. All right.
So then this is when things get weird. So then we see a shot of Alf flying through space in like it's like a.
Well, he's back on Melmac.
Yeah. Well, isn't he flying? Well, he's flying in the air anyway.
Yeah, in the air.
And he's in a flying car that's kind of shaped like an old hot rod, kind of, right?
Sure. And
he sees what he thinks is a flock of birds, but when he gets closer, now maybe this is some non-vegetarian humor that I don't get, but it's not. It's not a flock of birds. It's just a stream of meat.
That's right. It's meat
flowing through the air. Yeah, flying through the air.
Well, the other thing you got to remember about Alf is he has, like all Melmacians, he has 8 stomachs.
Oh, so, okay.
A lot of his references and jokes are about food and how much he can eat.
Got it. Well, I know he eats cats. I remember that joke. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, even though he's on Melmac, some of this meat is USDA certified.
I just noticed that, yeah.
That's true. So then, so he's like, oh, cool. Well, I'm hungry, right? And then he's like, chowabunga. Instead of cowabunga, right?
Yeah, chowabunga.
So then I love all these little puns. So then he's like, amazing, the meat is storing itself on a giant aircraft carrier. I'll find the ship's captain. And we see an aircraft carrier, but it's kind of shaped like Alf's face. Well, at least the nose, right?
Yeah, the tip of it looks like his nose.
Right. And so all the meat is flying into like this, hatch or this whatever trapdoor on the surface of this aircraft carrier, and it's all going in. So he's trying to find out what's going on. And so then he lands his little car on it, and then we see someone coming out of a doorway, and he's like, "You dare, young fool!" And then Alpha's like, "Great Caesar's post toasties, the most feared villain on Melmac," and we see that it's Magneto, a parody of Magneto, obviously.
That's right.
So he looks like, I guess all Melmacians look like this, but he's got like a sort of like a Magneto costume, but there's a bone through the top of his helmet.
Mike L. Then we get a little box here where Alf, like John Macron, he says, we pause for a brief exposition. And then the official handbook of the male Marvel Universe. You had to love that. You love the Marvel Universe.
Yep.
And we get a little background on Magneto.
Yeah, it says real name unknown, address unknown, home phone number unlisted. I'm glad we had that. And then there's a little description. The most powerful evil male mutant of them all, Magneto has the ability to attract raw meat. He plans world domination by holding Melmac's food supply hostage.
Am I the only one upset that they couldn't come up with a pun based on Magneto's name for his real name?
What, Magnus?
Like something. Like maybe they tried and they couldn't come up with something good enough, but I feel like they could have come up with something fun.
I think at this point, they didn't really know it. Well, I think they just thought it was Magnus, so it wasn't different enough, probably.
That might be.
Yeah. But anyway, so then Alpha's like, I'm out of here. And then Magneto's like, nice try, Orbit Guardsman. So is that his job or something? Is that Alf's job?
He's part of the Orbit Guard.
Oh, okay. Was this in the cartoon?
Sure, I think so, right, Bob?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't recall, but probably. I mean, I was a kid when I watched it. The details I don't remember. I just remember Alf was awesome.
I think he was. I think that was his gimmick. They were part of the Orbit Guard, him and his buddies, I think.
So then Magneto shoots some meat up into the air and he's like, hey, let's try a role reversal. I'll have the meat eat you. So then he makes the meat all kind of bunch together and kind of envelop Alf, right?
Yeah, like a big old meatball.
Right. So then that makes Alf crash onto the ground, like kind of like the beach. And then we see a sign for a school and it says Professor Charles Xylophone School for Gifted Male Mutants. And then Magneto or Alf kind of makes his way out of the pile of meat and crawls towards it, and then he sees someone standing there. And he's like, who are you? How'd you know my name? Because the guy's talking to him. And it turns out this is the Professor X parody, Professor Charles Xylophone. A powerful melepath who can read minds, right?
And he's playing a xylophone on his lap. He's in a wheelchair playing a xylophone.
Right. So I guess what would his name be then? Xylophone or Xylophone? Because it's Xavier.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Don't try to question the logic.
Yeah, okay. We shouldn't think about it too much. So then they chat for a minute, and then Xylophone brings him into the intimate danger room and introduces him to the uncanned Melmen. And we are introduced to Molossus.
Yeah, instead of Colossus, we got Molossus.
Yeah, and then Psych Major instead of Cyclops.
I don't know what. Let me stop you there with Psych Major. Bob, Psych Major's my favorite.
Oh, I loved Psych Major. Mm-hmm. Just brilliant.
Because I think we've talked about this before when you've been on, but Mike L. loves Cyclops, right, Mike L.?
Oh, yeah, of course. My favorite X-Men.
And I think, Bob, you and I both hate Cyclops, right?
What?
Correct.
That's correct. He's such an morose asshole. Arrogant, pompous douche. So this Psych Major kind of really captures him beautifully. His little logo on his chest is a broken heart, and he's just crying all the time. All right, Michael. So yeah, we got Molasses and Psych Major. Who's next?
So then we got Haugen Dazzler.
Yes,
I love that.
Haugen Dazs.
These are clever. Then we have Brogue instead of Rogue, right? Oh. And then we have Michigan Wolverine instead of Wolverine. And, I got to say, I'm a big fan of the old What The comics, but I think these X-Men parody names are better than most of what we saw in What The. I got to admit, it's pretty good.
And we get little descriptions of each character then, Michael. So
yes.
Psych Major, he shoots laser beams out of his nose.
Yes.
His nasal blasts are deadly. So are his endlessly morose monologues.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they capture Cyclops perfectly. And who's Brogue, Michael?
Brogue, her thick Irish accent may charm you, but her thick Irish head may harm you. And we see her, and she's saying, aye. That's it. And then Michigan Wolverine. Who wants to read Michigan Wolverine? Is anyone here from Michigan? Not me.
No, Bob's from Kansas City.
That's right.
Well, he's a ferocious football fanatic. He can and will bore you to death with gridiron seats. Now, Michael, you're familiar with the college, Michigan.
Yeah, I've been there, I think, once, yep.
Well, their mascot, their football team's the Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
The reference to. If they were like the Michigan Argonauts, you would know what that is.
No.
Oh, man, I was making a Canadian football reference.
Oh, no, I don't watch. No, yeah, I'll tell you right now, nobody watches Canadian football. Not even Canadians.
All right. Well, we got Hagen Dazzler. She's capable of generating huge blocks of ice cream and huge clouds of makeup. And she's putting on her makeup. And then we got Molasses. Has the ability to turn his body into semi-solid sugary goo. He's slow, but a sweet guy. There you go. There's your uncanned ex-mailmen.
Yep. And then basically, yeah, so then they start talking, and then they start, Professor Xylophone is explaining Magneto, or whatever his name is. Yeah, Magneto. He believes mutants, or Mel mutants, should conquer and rule the world instead of helping our fellow Melmen. You must tell them to put a sock in it. So now we have our inciting incident, right? There we go. Now the story can begin. And that's it. So now I guess he's going to help them out, and, they're on their way, right? So then they go out to their version of the Blackbird, which, is there a funny name for it?
I don't think they mention it at all.
No, they don't really know. But
no, there is some good shtick, though, because he's putting in unleaded fuel from a tank that says Exxon.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And then when they get up in the air, it says atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed, which we all know is a Batman reference.
I did not know that.
Yep, from the TV show.
But we also get Psych Major talking to Alf. He's like, hey, you can sit in the cockpit, Gordon. There's an empty seat next to me. Thanks. Where my old girlfriend used to sit, and he's crying.
Yeah. Love that.
Every drawing of Cyclops in this, he's crying, and it's spectacular.
That's true.
And then Hagen Dazzler, she says there's always an extra seat there because his girlfriend's always gone.
And then, quiet back there, no bickering, like we used to quarrel when my darling girlfriend Dark Kleenex was alive.
Dark Kleenex, that's pretty
cool.
I
like it. And then they're flying, and then basically Brogue uses this as an excuse to just take off on her own, right? So she flies towards the aircraft carrier. Yeah,
she's so sick of hearing Psych Major talk about his girlfriend. She just flies right out of the plane.
Right.
Rips a hole right in their plane and flies to the aircraft carrier.
And then grabs Magneto by the shirt. And then he uses his magnetic meat powers, or whatever his meat powers, to get a bunch of spare ribs or whatever this is, and
baby back ribs.
Yeah, envelop her in meat. And then the rest of the uncanned X-Men, or whatever they're called, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And as they're talking, Alf breaks the fourth wall, and he looks at the reader and says, "When did I lose control of this comic book?" And then we see sploosh, and then it says, one of the characters is like, "When I said set us down, I meant on the gurgle ship. I failed as I failed Dark Glove Kleenex." And then, so they're all underwater, and we see a fish with a question mark, wondering what's going on. And then at the bottom it says, "Is this the end of the uncanned X-Melmen?" There you go. But the story's not done, because then we cut back up to Magneto on top of the aircraft carrier, and he thinks he's won, but then what's his name?
Molasses.
Molasses crawls out of the water and then helps the rest of the uncanned X-Melman up, and they get their shit together. And then
they're going to help Psych Major out of the water.
Right, but then
he's still crying. Yeah.
Right. He's like, "It's an endless time of frustration, denial, self-pity, and angst that could easily become a multi-book crossover." So then Molasses just drops him back into the water.
Yeah, Michigan Wolverine said
he lost my grip. Yep.
Just drops him in the water.
So then we cut to the next page, and Hagen Dazzler, I guess she uses her powers to...
Summon ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's right. And then Magneto, but he's like, "Fools, just as I can attract food, so can I repel it. You couldn't freeze me in a month of Sundays."
Hilarious.
Yep. And then
puns on top of puns.
Right. And then Magneto once again summons a whole bunch of meat and just covers the men in meat, Melmen. And then he's like, once again, Magneto triumphs, just like when I banished your former team member, Dark Kleenex. I like that name. But then Cyclops comes back and shoots him with some lasers out of his nose, right?
Yeah, because he heard him say Dark Kleenex and he got pissed.
Right. So then he's like, surrender, Magneto. Don't force me to make you suffer. Believe me, I know what it is to suffer, like the pain of a broken heart. So he's still going on. He's still crying, right? And then basically that's it. He's done. Magneto's like, let me escape or I'll hurl your meatly wrapped friends into the sea again. And Psych Major's like, I doubt that, Magneto. So he's basically defeated, right? He's done.
Well, he didn't think he was defeated until he turned around and he sees all the ex-mailmen. They've escaped the meat because Alf ate their way out of the meat.
Oh, right. And he's like spitting a bone out and stuff. Actually, they all are. Are they all spitting bones out?
No, just Alf.
No, it's just Alf.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I surrender.
Yeah, because they're all free now, so he's not going to fight them all, even though he just whooped them all, a couple minutes ago. But it's right. Well, I guess he only fought one of them. He didn't fight all of them.
Got to wrap this story up.
Plane crashed. But so then they arrested Magneto, and that's it. And then we come back into present day, and Alf is talking to Willie again.
Right. So the flashback is done. And so now Willie has got together like a mop and like a brush for Alf to clean off the tennis ball, like smudges off the wall, right? And then he's like, and then what's his name? And then he's like, Alf is like, come on, Will of the Whisk, you take this chore, I'll do another. I'll check the accuracy of the TV remote control. And Willie's like, I have a chore, thank you. I've got several bags of groceries to unload. And then Alf is like, no problem. Gallant Gordon, the superhero, shall help put them away. And then he starts eating everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the end of the story.
Well, Willie ends with the joke, the only hero I see around here is the hoagie I bought for lunch.
Yep. Wah, wah, wah. And then just when you think the comic's over, you realize that it's only the first story.
Yeah, it's just the first story. There's one other thing I would like to point out that up above there's a little box from the editor saying, let us know if you'd like to see the ex-mailmen return. Write the Melmac mail sack.
Right.
Just to let you guys know, the ex-mailmen, they do return.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
So you can read those. But maybe let's pause here for a minute. Bob, what do you think of the ex-mailmen?
Oh, that was wonderful. I think we can all agree that was brilliantly done and heartwarming as well.
Yeah.
But I will say the constantly referring to everything with Mel at the beginning really gets old.
Yeah, it really does.
Does that get old? Because they do it like every panel. It's like, all right, we get it. Just stop it. Stop it. But yeah. Other than that, though, it's great. But,
I mean, I know that the gimmick of the Michigan Wolverine was he was supposed to be annoying, and he was, because everything he said was annoying as hell. As opposed to Cyclops, where it was funny because Cyclops, everything he normally says is annoying, so it just worked. Whereas the Michigan Wolverine is like, yeah, okay, this character is just obnoxious.
Yeah, I like Psych Major was great though.
Yeah, Psych Major was great, and I thought Hagen-Dazler was brilliant.
Well, if you thought those were brilliant, where do you get a load of Alf's carrot cards?
Cards,
I guess we could say. Yeah, they have a one-page thing here, Michael. From Alf to you, a new deck of Melmacian. I guess you'd pronounce it Caro cards, but it's spelled Carot, but they're shaped like carrots.
Right, and it's clever.
Well,
I mean,
for a kid.
He's like, what a deal, ha! Predict the future and measure friends, show a wide profit margin, but profit with the PH, of course. And they give you the instructions. Simply post this paste this page to thin sheets of cardboard, and then clip out the cards. Yeah, that's what you want to do. Just destroy the comic book. Good thing there wasn't a seal getting molested on the cover. You would have wasted it. But so we get 4 little carrots here. Or there's 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 carrots, and they all have a little picture of Alf or an Alf-looking person on them, and I don't know, little bits, little jokes. Yeah, but they're not really that funny.
The first one, a big change. Oh, a big change is in store for you, and then like at the bottom it says, "Hopefully your undershirt."
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
All like that. Yeah, but this is cool. I like this stuff. It gave it some variety. Anyway.
a figure from your past will return on your income tax form.
I mean, these aren't good jokes, but they feel like Alf jokes. They're bad Alf jokes, but they feel like they're in the vein of Alf jokes.
Right.
Yeah, Alf was hilarious, though.
Alf jokes are better than these, but they're the formula of Alf jokes. I'll put it like that.
You will come into a big inheritance who will send you to the poorhouse because he has a long-lost son show up.
Okay, that one's real bad. That one barely fits as a joke.
You will go on a long trip up the river for shoplifting that pack of Booyah baseball cards. That was a Melmacian sport, Michael.
Very specific, yeah.
I'm sure they didn't have Booyah baseball in Canada.
Booyah baseball. Genius.
You shall just miss a tragedy. Next time, order your tickets ahead. And they're like all outside of a sold-out play of Romeo and Julie on potatoes. And then it says at the bottom, create your own. Send in your Caro card ideas. The best will be published in an upcoming Melmac mail sack. Ah, you kill us. So, that brings us to the final story of the issue.
That's right. Alf in Food for Thought. And basically now, okay, you're more familiar with the characters than me, but this is the daughter coming out. What's her name again?
That's Lynn.
Lynn.
And the mom, Kate.
Yeah, Kate. And Lynn is like, yeah, I got the job, Mom. And the mom's like, you did? Congratulations, Lynn, honey. And then then Alf is like, a job? I hope you demanded minimum wage, $43,268 and 932 9/32 Wernix an hour. I don't know why I think that's so funny, but anyway.
Because it's higher than what you get in Canada.
There you go. There you go. And then we see Alf is eating a bowl of like octopus or something, and like some of the arms are like, hanging, like cut off.
Pretty gross.
Right. And then basically right away Alf is skeptical because she's got this new job and he's very suspicious of why she got it, right? And he's like,
for no reason at all. He just immediately decided this job is sketchy.
Actually, it's a pretty good money for a summer job. I'm working for Chris the caterer.
Right.
And Alf says, a food handler. Did they run a check on Tomaine Kate over here? She's like, watch it, wise guy. Because she's a terrible cook.
Right. Is that a running gag in the show?
Well, yeah, he doesn't like her cooking on the show.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Lynn's working for Chris the caterer, but Alf is suspicious because he thinks this is probably a fella taking advantage of her.
Right. And right, Alf is like, I want this Chris investigated. He could be some kind of gigolo.
Stop that, Alf.
He certainly could be. We don't know.
Right.
Yes, no one knows.
Oh, so then later on, Lynn comes home from work. Or no, she's about to go to work. And then, what's his name? The father, Willie, is like, well, howdy, stranger. Care to join us? We just started dinner. And then Alf's like, we're finished. Now, is that him kind of like belching up a bone? Or is that him throwing up?
He's throwing all the food into his mouth. That's how quick he ate it. And then he burped up the bone.
Okay. And then once again, Lynn's like, sorry, got to work. And once again, Alf is suspicious, right?
Because she's worked every night since she started.
Right.
Working a lot of nights. I know what's going on here.
That's right.
And then Mom's like, tisk. Alf has this cockeyed idea that Lynn's boss only hired her for her looks. And then Alf is like, stranger things have happened. The Madonna Pepsi ad, for example. See, that's a good joke.
Well, yeah. Back in 1988, it was a good joke, or 89. But nowadays, people are like, what Madonna Pepsi ad?
Right.
But I'm guessing, Bob, do you remember a Madonna Pepsi ad? Was it the Like a Prayer kind of video? I think.
I'm guessing. Yeah. I'm assuming that's what it was. I couldn't remember specifically, but I do remember there was something with the Like a Prayer thing. Yeah. It sounds like Michael knows. Fill us in.
Well, I don't know exactly, but I know she in the music video for Like a Prayer, it's all about like religion and whatever. And then at the end, she just drinks a Pepsi. And then it basically was a commercial for Pepsi. And I think there was controversy because in the video, I don't know what. It's because it was religious, but there was also sex or something.
Well, I think it's about abortion, no?
No. That's
no.
Preach.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, this
Like a Prayer is the one with the guy from Cool Runnings is essentially Jesus.
Oh.
The head of Black Jesus, and you can't have that. Because Jesus is definitely white.
Yes. Anglo-American.
But yeah, so Alf makes a lot of references to current pop culture in this.
Right. Yeah, so anyway, so then Alf is like being overprotective. He's like, Lynn's working all the time. And do we know one thing about her employer? He could be an ex-con or worse, a former insurance salesman, right? I love it. So
Willie starts to get worried though. Like Kate is saying, "You're silly. This gossip is terrible." But Willie's now, "Hey, Alf might have a point here." So they start,
which is the thing I love, that Alf can convince Willie that, you know what, maybe this makes sense.
Right.
Willie will buy into it.
So they stay up late waiting for Lynn to come home from work because they're going to talk to her. Yeah.
Right. So then she comes home and she's dressed up like a
No, not yet.
What? Oh, I thought you were already skipping ahead to that.
She just comes home and they're like, "Hey, Lynn,
oh,
can we talk?"
Is the yeah. Gotcha. Oh yeah, she's all tired.
Yeah.
She's like, yawn. Daddy, you waited up anyway. How sweet. Well, good night.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Good job there, buddy. You're supposed to talk.
Right. They don't get a chance to talk to her.
Yeah,
So
Alf says, I should think so. I could carve a firmer father figure out of a ripe banana.
Right.
That's a pretty good one. He zinged him with the banana joke.
See, here's another one. He's like, I feel terrible because I let you fill my head with innuendo and gobbledygook. And then Alf says, I'm just trying to avoid an ugly scene like Mike Schmidt's retirement speech. See, like, I don't know who that is.
Oh, well, Mike Schmidt was a Hall of Fame third baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies.
That's why.
But, Bob, do you remember what happened at his retirement speech? I don't remember that at all.
I don't remember. My assumption was he was probably drunk, but I really don't remember his retirement speech. I don't remember at all. Yeah, it just seems likely. I meant to look it up and then I forgot.
All right. So, but Alf says, all right, you know what? I'm washing my hands of this. It's all your fault, Willie. It's all on you. And so then the next evening, Willie and Alf are home. They're going to have some popcorn and watch a movie. And Lynn comes in. She's about to go to work. And here, Michael, she's dressed like a sexy French maid.
Right. Yeah, she walks in the door, and Willie's like, that's okay. It's just me and Alf. Everyone's over at Grand Mamma Mia. And then Alf's just sitting there. And then Willie's like, what's with the French maid outfit? She's like, nice, huh? It's my new uniform. Chris picked it out. And Alf's like, basically, told you so. Oh, yeah, he's like, I got those told you so blues. So then Lynn takes off, and they're like, okay, that's it. Now Willie's like, we're gonna follow her. We're gonna find out what's going on. So they jump in the car, right?
Oh, let me pause here because Willie says, we'll follow them in the car. I'm deputizing you, Alf. Come on, let's go. Aye, sir. This sounds like a perfect time for me to do my Willie impersonation because I only say one line. All right, are you ready, Michael?
Go ahead.
Lynn, Brian, get in the car. All right, there it is.
What the? Wait a minute, but you didn't change your voice though.
No, I did. It's subtle.
Sounds exactly like Mike Dell. Okay.
Listen to it one more time. You probably weren't paying attention. All right, ready?
I can play it back later. Do you want to do it again or?
Yeah, I'll just do it again.
Okay, do it again.
Lynn, Brian, get in the car. And then they have to get in the car. Yeah.
Tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
If you close your eyes, it's like you're there.
Okay,
you're in
okay.
Alf's kitchen, and you're hearing Willie talk to the kids. It's amazing. But yeah, so he tells Alf to get in the car. So they get in the car. And then Alf's wearing like his big sombrero.
It's pretty funny.
There's a little note that says Alf's wearing his favorite travel hat. Last seen way back in Alf 2, Jungle Love.
I love that.
Now I got to go read Jungle Love.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah.
So yeah, they're following Lynn driving in this van.
Yeah, the catering van.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, they pulled into the driveway. Stop up ahead by the hedge. Okay, this is good. So then Alf jumps out of the car, and he's like, and he's
skipping a lot of puns. You're skipping
There's a lot of puns you're skipping.
You want me to read all of them?
Well, no, but maybe Willie says, we're in the real Ritzy section. And Alf says, speaking of which, have you got any crackers? Ritz crackers, Mike. Do they have Ritz crackers in Canada?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Just wanted to check. But so they pull out down the street there to like watch what's going on, and then Alf jumps out of the car and he puts a blanket on him. He covers himself up in a blanket like Little Red Riding Hood. I guess that's a disguise.
Right. And he's like, no Belgian waffling now. I'm going undercover. Honk the horn twice if you need me. He's like, Willie, please. I spied with the best of them. James Bondugal, Agent 00711. Oh, I love this. It says, and there's a little note, and it says, in Alf number 16, the spy who came in from the mold. See, now I have to read Alf number 16.
I know.
See? Look at that. It's working.
There's so much continuity in all these books. Who knew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you have the same creative team for all 50 issues.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Tie it all together. I wonder if this breaks Chris Claremont's record on X-Men, eh?
I don't know.
Maybe.
It does in quality. Maybe not in quantity.
That's true. So then Alf, like, he runs into the bushes to go and track down Lynn. And this is weird. So he goes into the bush, and then it says, and so Alf is, huh?
Well, because he eats his way through the bush.
Yeah. So because at first I didn't know what was going on. So then he comes out, and he's like, so the narration says, and so Alf makes his way through the hedge, and then Alf says, yeah, without any burp mayonnaise, and we see him spitting out a leaf, and there's just like a big, like an opening there. So
yeah, that could have been made clearer. Yeah. I mean, I read it again. I'm like, oh, I must have eaten it, but why? But
right.
Okay.
Right. So then now she sees a silhouette of Lynn, right? Like with a light behind.
Alf. You said she, but Alf.
Alf says, yeah.
Yeah, he sees
so
a silhouette
he's like,
of a
there's her
lady.
silhouette now, the poor innocent lamb chop. This just breaks my heart. That's all I can stand. I can't stand no more. There's only one thing to do. So he pulls off his blanket and then, kind of like kidnaps her. He throws it around her and carries her off. And then all of a sudden, so he runs towards Willie's van. He's like, what the? And Lynn is standing there. And he's like, what, Lynn? And he's like, Hamana. If you're there, then who have I got here? And then Lynn's like, my boss, Alf, Christine, the caterer. Oh, I get it. So then Willie's like, I'm so ashamed. So then Alf's like, Christine, your boss is a woman, but the skimpy outfit. And she's like, we're catering a masquerade ball. It's a costume. So then he eventually lets her. Actually, no, he doesn't. He doesn't let her out of the thing. He keeps the disguise on because no one can see. I forgot about this, but no one can see Alf, right?
Well, yeah, you can't have him seeing an alien. Right?
Yeah, see,
people can't know there's an alien around. That would ruin everything.
What was there? I don't remember. Were there neighbors that like didn't know Alf lived there?
The Ochmonics.
Yeah,
see, I forgot about that.
Raquel and Trevor Ochmonic.
Okay.
Played by Jerry Seinfeld's mom.
All right.
Really? I met her.
Really?
Yeah, at the Motor City Comic Con.
Wow.
She basically implied that Larry David was an asshole.
I find that hard to believe, having seen many episodes of Kirby Enthusiasm.
But Michael, when you talked to her, didn't you ask her about Alf?
No, I did not. No.
You filthy son of a bitch.
Sure, I'm the only one that didn't.
What? Now, I'm sorry, I have to go off on a tangent. Why was she at a Comic-Con?
Oh, because Comic Cons do not in any way feature anything related to comic books anymore.
Yeah,
they feature
well, I mean, I know that's the way it is here, but how long ago was this?
Stars. This was like 15 years ago or more.
Even 15 years ago, they were pulling in.
Oh yeah.
Quite frankly, mediocre celebrities. I love Seinfeld, but like Jerry Seinfeld's mom would not draw me in.
Liz Sheridan, I think is
Liz Sheridan. There you go.
I'll tell you right now, like, you know how nowadays Comic-Cons focus on like movie trailers and sci-fi and genre entertainment? Back in the 90s, it was all porn stars and wrestlers.
Ooh.
Okay, it was bad.
That's my wheelhouse.
I know. At the Kansas City Comic-Con, we still get some wrestlers, no porn stars, though, so that's really disappointing.
Did I ever tell you guys I interviewed the Honky Tonk Man?
Oh.
The greatest moment of my life.
Yes. Oh, I definitely knew this.
Yeah. I try to tell everybody once. Anyway, okay, we should get back to the story, right?
Yes, big tangent.
So they're saying, hey, what are we going to do? We can't let Christine see you, even though Christine just has a blanket over her head. I'm assuming she can hear all.
100% This blanket blocks out all sound, apparently, as we'll hear later, because she has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, so they decide to do a little bit where Willie pretends to be saving Christine from a kidnapper who is Alf. So then when Willie, frees her, Alf runs away as the kidnapper. And then they take the blanket off Christine, and she is smoking hot, this Christine lady.
Yes.
And she's like, Lynn, I was kidnapped by some creep. She goes, I know, Chris, this passerby saved you. And then Christine just starts kissing Willie all over the place.
He's a married man. Anyway.
Yeah. she's like, thank you, sir. You too, Lynn. I'm giving you a raise. Let's get back to work. And Willie's got lipstick all over him and stuff. And he's like, all right, Alf, that's it. They've split. And then Alf spits up another bone. He was eating a wishbone or something. What the fuck? Why is Alf always eating things? I don't know.
No, he's like, not really. There's always room for June bug jello. Oh, no, but you're right. He was eating something in there.
Jello.
Yeah.
So then they drive home. And here's where he was eating, because when they're leaving, Christine and Lynn go back to the catering van, and someone ransacked all the food in the back of the van. So Alf was in there eating all the food.
Right.
Because Christine says, "Gosh, Lynn, what kind of wild, ravenous beast would have ransacked all our food in such a short time? Boss, you wouldn't believe me if I told you." Alf, they kill me. Yeah, too bad we can't show you what happened when Kate saw Christine's lipstick on Willie's collar. They kill me. All right, that's the end. There you
go. And then there's what's it called? Letters page, and that's it.
Yeah, the Mail sack. And there's Alf dressed as little postman saying, I get 1 million of them. But here's my problem with this. I was reading through these letters, but they're answered by the editors. Why wouldn't you answer these letters in the voice of Alf?
That's a very good question.
Like, that makes no sense. Like, what are they doing? Just answer them as Alf.
Yeah, because they're written to Alf.
Yes.
Every one of them is written to Alf.
But then they're written, but the editors that answer and make, what, is Alf busy? He's too, just answer them as Alf. Come on.
What I like is some are written to Alf. One is written to Gordon Shumway.
Well, that's
a little formal. Yeah.
Right to his formal name there. So, all right, there it is, Alph Issue 22. Bob, first impressions. What do you think?
I mean, I don't even know what to say. It was wonderful and sort of terrible at the same time, but I loved it.
That's a good way to sum it up. Wonderful, but sort of terrible. Yeah, I concur with that sentiment. Michael, what'd you think?
I gotta say, I liked it. Like, it reminds me of like reading Star Comics as a kid, and I think this is perfect for a kid. You know?
What do you mean, kid? It's perfect for
40-year-old.
I apologize. Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. I enjoy it now, but I'm just saying, from looking at it through the eyes of a kid, I like it even more.
Yeah, well, I was reading up some background on this whole Elf series and whatnot, and I saw somebody wrote like a column about the books, and I guess they overall the series gets pretty high praise from most people who read it, saying
really
that it's a very good comic book.
Interesting.
In large part because you had the same creative team, I think, as well.
Also, because everyone loves Alf.
Well, that's true. But like Bob was saying earlier, how there's all these little references and in-jokes because the same people are doing the whole 50-issue run. Right. And I guess when they found out this series was getting canceled, they weren't happy about it, the creative team. They still wanted to keep doing it. So I guess the final 3 issues, they kind of are taking little jabs at Tom DeFalco.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So, you might want to check those issues out. But I'll be honest, I'll go back and read some more of these. I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with it, yeah.
I want to see what else they parody, you know?
Right.
What other kind of jokes they do. Because I know, Michael, I did see one they do Swamp Thing.
Oh, cool.
It's
cool.
Swamp Thing. And
nice.
Instead of Swamp Thing. And then he makes they say, oh, the book is so, I forget the exact way they put it, but so deep and thought-provoking. And Al says, yeah, what would you expect when it's written by Alan Melmore?
I love it.
Your buddy Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Bob, anything else about this issue? How do you feel about the art in here?
I mean, it's not going to blow anybody away, but it's good. It's great for what it is.
Right.
I mean, it feels like, it feels like a comic. I don't know how to.
Yeah, it's very cartoony.
It's a great children's cartoony comic.
I like his use of the artist again is Dave Manak. I like he uses a lot of silhouettes. A lot of panels with silhouettes and stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I don't know. What'd you think, Michael?
I think the art's great. Like, for this genre, it's perfect. You know,
yeah, it's perfect for the genre. Is the way I was trying to phrase it. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and I got one more thing. I also appreciate that it's not recolored. Like, we obviously read a scan that's right from the like the newsprint comic book, right? So I think that makes it even better.
Yeah, it does look like an old comic book kind of feel when you're reading it.
I mean,
and of
I'm
course,
going to assume this got a special edition reprint at some point.
I should
A
hope
Marvel
so.
A
Masterwork.
big, yeah, the Masterworks, yeah,
Right.
hardcover.
Well, a Mel Masterwork. But, and again, Marie Severin's the inker here. I think the inks are great. So they look nice. And well, what about the writing, Bob? Again, the Mel stuff too much, right? Just
It's too much Mel stuff. And frankly, not enough puns. I mean, there's only like one
Really?
pun per panel. You got to get 3-4 puns in each panel. No, yeah, it was definitely too much Mel. A lot of puns, which I'm in favor of, but and maybe a little bit heavy on the puns. Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, it gets exhausting after a while.
It's a little bit exhausting. But all in all, I liked it. I mean, it is what it is. It's shtick. It's Alf parodying stuff. But yeah, I liked it. But it's a little exhausting. I'm sure they had a lot of fun writing it. But this would be one that I couldn't read several in a row. Like I could see it month by month, maybe picking one up and reading it. But I definitely couldn't just binge read this. I couldn't handle it.
You know what? I'm going to try. I'll let you know how it goes. So what would you give it 1 out of 10, Bob?
I mean, for what it is, it's great. For just an overall comic, it's a little tougher. So I'm going to kind of split the difference. I'm going to give it a 7 because for an Alf comic, it's really good for being an Alf comic.
Michael, what do you think?
A 7. It's fine. You know, like for what it is, it's fine. Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to give it a 10 because
exactly. I'd like to give it a 10.
I can't give it a 10, but I'll go one higher than you guys. I'll give it an 8 because I love Alf. But yeah, it's fine. You know, a few less mailmen references would have been nice, but otherwise, I enjoyed it. Good time. You'll enjoy the Alf. Pick up an issue of Alf.
Definitely, and more Star Comics.
I don't know about that, but definitely an Alf.
All right.
All right. So next issue, Michael. Next episode, same thing. I like to call the episodes issues.
Okay.
Are you getting into the holiday spirit?
Well, of course I am.
Right.
Now I can pre-warn you. I've got some good news and some bad news. What would you like to hear first?
Can I make a prediction? This book is going to be 150 pages long, and it's going to be DC.
Oh, close. It's 100 pages long. It is DC.
Oh man.
More bad news. It features the Sandman.
Oh,
what?
But the good news is
is it the old Sandman? The old.
We only have to read 17 pages, and it's the Jack Kirby Sandman from the 70s.
All right, see, I don't remember that one. What did he?
Yeah, he had a yellow and red costume, and he's the King of Dreams. He's a little bit different. Yeah, he's in between the Golden Age one and the Neil Gaiman one.
I like the Golden Age one. As long as it's not the Neil Gaiman one, I'm cool.
Now, would you like to hear the great news?
Yeah, let's hear the great.
Great news is it's Christmas with the Superheroes number 22.
What? What?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Wait.
No, there was 2 issues of Christmas with the Superheroes in the 80s, but this is the digest version from the 70s, you see? I dug deep.
I thought we were free and clear.
No
Christmas
way.
with the superheroes.
I was volume 2, 1.
As much as I hate it, I mean, we have to read all 100 pages. We can't just read 17.
Yeah, that's
really okay. Hey, famous last words. If you say so.
We have to read. I mean, you know, I hate to do it, but you can't just read 17 pages. You got to read the whole thing.
Okay.
Or what other superheroes are featured in this?
You know what's funny? I don't even know. I just went directly to the Sandman story, but if you'd like, I can quickly glance. Oh, let's see what we got here. We got a Captain Marvel story. We've got, a Teen Titans story that we've already read, so we could probably skip that one. I believe we've got Superman in here. We've got Batman. Yeah, we've got 7 different stories. Oh, also the Justice League.
All right.
So there you go. It's going to be a good time.
Bob, how do you feel about that, Bob? Would you like to join us again next week?
I
No one wants to come back and do that.
I really, I mean, I could if you really want somebody, but it's not a thing I would choose to do.
All right. Well, we won't make you suffer. We'll just, I'll fly. So, Michael, did you have a guest planned for next week?
No, actually, I didn't. Nope. I was sure someone was going to approach us, so I didn't bother.
Well, yeah. Once we get the word out there that we're doing Christmas
I'm sure
with the Superheroes issue 22, I'm sure people will be beating down our door to get in there. But Bob, it's been a while. Have you been reading anything since the last time you were on, Bob?
Not comic book wise. Just a lot of books, basically. I'm reading Mick Foley's second book right now.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. A good time. It's an old book, but one I haven't read, so I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I haven't read any comic books in a while. I should, just haven't been. There's so much stuff I want to read. It's hard.
I'll say this: last time you were on, we mentioned we did Elektra, and I loved issue 1 of Elektra. And you had read ahead, and you told me, "Hey, maybe not be so excited about Elektra because until you read some more." And yeah, I read issue 2, and then I stopped because it got really bad.
Didn't make it, huh?
No, I think I made it into issue 3, a couple pages. I'm like, what is this? This is not Elektra. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is just get it out of here. So yeah, very.
So I guess that's when Frank Miller's decline began. Would you say?
I don't know. It just it's not what I wanted out of an Elektra miniseries. Issue 1 was great, and then like rarely Elektra in issues 2 and 3. Like she's hardly there. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it ad nauseum there, but it's just a bad story. It's just badly done.
Just pretend it's a one shot. It's a one shot.
Yeah.
Issue 1. So, all right, Bob. Well, thanks for joining us for Alf. I don't know. I won't torture you with Christmas with the Superheroes.
I mean, I'll happily come back. I can come back for Christmas with the Superheroes. I can do it if you want.
Yeah, I think you should.
Well, I feel bad. I just threw it out there as a joke, but all right.
There you go. You're in.
I mean, I don't want anybody else to be subjected to this.
Oh, there you go.
So.
The spirit of giving. Bob is sacrificing himself for his fellow man. God bless you, Bob.
There you go. All right. So yeah, be sure to join us next week for our Christmas-themed episode of Flea Market Fantasy. You can hear all of our episodes on Stitcher, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts under Comic Book Syndicate. You can also follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and the Comic Book Syndicate website. Each week we pick a different Bronze Age comic. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks. So until next Tuesday, disperse!